Alright, hello and welcome. My name is Clayton Bridges. I am a big car guy, but you know what? Sometimes I'm into other stuff that has wheels and gears and all that kind of stuff. And I gotta be honest, I've been a little broke, so I've been getting into bikes a little more. Now, not every car guy appreciates a cyclist, and not every cyclist appreciates a car guy, but you know what? Sometimes we're both. And bikes are pretty cool because they still have a lot of little customization things that you can do. You can swap out grips and pedals and all that kind of stuff, and that's what we're gonna do today. I bought some new grips for my newly purchased mountain bike, and we're gonna throw them on. It should be really easy and simple to do. And we're just gonna kind of do it and have fun. Alrighty, so this bad boy right here is my mountain bike, which I recently got. I have my old bike sitting right over there, but this mountain bike is meant for, well, me getting into mountain biking, which is something I don't have a whole lot of experience with. But one thing that I've quickly realized is that when you are standing up on the bike or you're doing some mountain biking stuff, you are putting a lot more pressure on the handle grips as well as your pedals. And so these grips all of a sudden are way more important. Okay, so here we have my Trek 7.2 FX, which is a bike I've had for a really long time, possibly somewhere around like 10 to 15 years. These handle grips have a big problem. They're really not that bad. They're fairly comfortable. They're cheap Bond traggers that kind of came with the bike. And those are also common things that people upgrade. So all I'm really saying is sometimes your grips and pedals might be really, really cheap, even if you get a nice high-end bike. But one of the biggest problems with these grips, as well as many others, is as you can see, they rotate relatively freely. When you're out riding and you're putting a lot of pressure on that, they move a lot easier, and frankly, it's just irritating. And then when you have a mountain bike, it becomes all the more noticeable because you're putting way more pressure on that point. So then the solution becomes buying some locking hand grips, which are really important. And honestly, I wish I had done this a long time ago because the squirming around grips is really an annoying thing. But essentially, it's the same thing as a normal grip, but we just have this collar that goes on the end that has a little Allen key that you just tighten up, so you actually tighten a band that keeps it from squirming around on you. So here we have our bike grips. They're a nice green. To be honest with you, there was some other green Trek bikes, and I matched this up alongside those bikes, and it looked like a pretty good match. But when I got it home, honestly, yeah, it did not match my bike all that well, which is unfortunate, but it doesn't really matter. They're green, they look all right, and the real thing is just these locking collars to make it. To stop wiggling around, we have this little set screw that just clamps this collar down and prevents these from rotating while we're grabbing them hard. Now, the feel of these is a little sticky, a little tacky. I don't love that. With my old grips, this rubber or whatever the hell this material is kind of breaks down and gets all like tacky and sticky, leaves residue. I think it's worse if you leave it out in UV light, but whatever. I mean, it'll be fine. And these were only 15 bucks, by the way. Really not breaking the bank, and a lot of other grips, especially like kind of the quote higher end grips, are closer to like 30 plus. So I think these are a pretty good price. Let's go ahead and get them on. So as you can see, our green is not the closest match here, but I think it'll look nice. And it'll at least be green. So removing the old ones is very easy for the same reason that we're getting rid of these grips, and that is because they just pull right off. So, I mean, these things just move around completely freely, which just feels terrible. Generally speaking, I think the diameter of this pipe, I guess, the handlebar, is generally the same. So I want to say these are somewhat universal in that you can almost buy whichever one you want. So that grip can go there for a second. And let's find our Allen key. It looks like I've got my Allen key. I'm going to go ahead and loosen them a little bit just so they go on really easily. But we're just going to go ahead and slide it on. One thing I'm noticing right away that may be a thing is this collar is actually very close to my shifter. Now, I don't think it's going to interfere with it, but I guess that's something to keep in mind. But it feels like it's a very, very good fit. And now we have to rotate and kind of determine what we think is going to feel the best as far as the actual position of this goes. And I'm a little unclear of where exactly your hand is supposed to ride there. I'm going to go ahead and get the other side on. The other thing that makes me a little nervous about this is I don't have a kickstand on this bike. And so I'm kind of worried that I'm going to end up laying the bike on these grips a lot, which will damage them. I almost want to go on a little bit of a test ride to see what will feel good. So I think I'm actually going to do that real quick. I went on a little cruise and I found that something along here feels pretty natural, I think. It's kind of hard to tell like what they want you to do with all this stuff. In some cases, like maybe that looks like it's an area for a thumb, and then you have more of a smooth thing. We've got this kind of complex pattern, and then there's these knobs on the bottom. I don't know. I don't really know if there's like a specific way that they think you should set it up. Just based on writing, I like the way that feels and it seems right. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it. And really all we're doing here, oh, it may be hard. Okay, so I'm actually having to press this lever to do so. I'm gonna thread it pretty tight. There is actually a torque spec printed right on this thing. Oh, wow. Okay, and now when I try and rotate it, it's going nowhere. That feels so good. Right away, I'm thrilled about that. That was so annoying to have those little hand grips slip around, and these things are really chewed up. But man, I mean, these things just moved around everywhere. You know, I've even thought about spraying some kind of adhesive or something in there, but realistically that shouldn't be necessary, and the solution is actually locking hand grips. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the same thing over here. So again, I got the Allen key and we're just tightening it up. Pretty simple. I did essentially shift the bike. All right, so both of those are installed and they no longer budge. Let's go out and give it a shot. See what they feel like. These little hand grips are just a $15 little mod that you can do for your bike and make it feel a lot better. And this includes almost any machine you operate, all your touch points, meaning the places where your hands are, the places you sit, and the places that you frequently touch are all really important to the actual user experience of the machine itself. Especially with bikes, when we're talking about upgrading stuff, the saddle, the pedals, and the grips I think are gonna make a huge difference. And yeah, especially those grips, I mean, that's literally where you're touching. The green wasn't exactly the perfect match to the bike that I had in mind, but that's all right as well. But yeah, I think this was a great move, especially for $15. Now I gotta get some for the other one, and I have to replace these pedals, which are really terrible. Although you can lock some shoes in with them, but I do need some better pedals. Alright, thank you so much for watching. This was just a quick mod on my bicycle. I know we don't usually do bike content on this channel. My other bike just fell. I really gotta get a kickstand, I think.